That's enough. I got inspired earlier, some hours ago, when I did this answer video to Memphis Final Gym about showing your stones, and then I picked out my Out of Our Heads album from 1965, and I realized that I didn't think that this was some sort of original issue, but now when I had a closer look at the label, I thought, well, maybe it is. And how do I find out this? Well, of course, there's lots of research material on the internet, but there are also a couple of books that I like to plug a bit. These are really for the record collecting geeks. And I'm sure you have heard of this one, or you may have heard of this one, Labelography. How do you say it? Labelography by Jan Pettersson. First pressing identification guide for CBS, Columbia, Decca, Fontana, His Master's Voice, Parlophone, and Pi. Singles, EPs, and LPs 1953 to 1975. And it's a very, very good book, and that goes into this in detail. There has now been a volume 2 issued here, and I bought that as well, although I may not have that many records to check up, but it's good to have in future, who knows. This checks the first pressing identification guide for Deram, Harvest, and Regal Sonophone. Singles, EPs, and LPs 1966 to 1980, also by Jan Pettersson. And I think the third volume that will probably be issued in well, sometime in the future, will cover labels like Vertigo and maybe RCA Neon and some other label that I can't remember right now. But anyway, so this is not that relevant now, but this is, because this of course shows the British identification for Decca, among some other labels. First of all, we have to check, is this a British issue? First of all, is it a British... well, it says printed in England here. And when I check the label, it says made in England by the Decca Company Limited, London. So, let's see now if we can together find out whether this is a first issue or what kind of issue it might be. So that's what we're going to try to do. So the record number of Out of Our Heads, the Rolling Stones, is SKL 4725, and it's a stereo issue. I know that without having to look it up, because, well, it's got the blue label as well. And I found a page in this book that covers the stereo Decca that was used for first pressing during that time. There's a black and white photo here, and it was used between early 1965 and summer 66, and it's well, shows all the kinds of different things that you can look for. So we will have a closer look at this record label of Out of Our Heads and do some comparisons. Okay, so this is what the label look like. And well, first of all, it's supposed to be in dark blue with silver print, and you can see that that is exactly what it is. It's got an unboxed Decca logo. The publishing year printed as P 1966 on the left or the right side of the spindle hole. And we got it here on the right side. Made in England by, as left top perimeter print. Yeah, made in England by. Matrix number printed upside down above the record number. Okay, we got the record number here, and we have the matrix number upside down here. So So far, everything is good. So this label was used between early 1965 to the summer of 1966, between the record numbers SKL 4666 and SKL 4811. There are some things that make me a bit suspicious, though, and it's this ring here, because on the image in the book, the ring should be out here. Oh, sorry. And still, of course, that may be just depending on where it was pressed. But, well, so far this may well be an original pressing. So, what can we more do? Well, actually, I've been a bit lucky here, because this actual album is covered here on a special on one side in this book, and it's about the Decca export LPs. And it says here, Decca exported a lot of LPs, most of which were just normal UK pressings sent abroad. In some special cases, they made LPs for export purposes, often with unique sleeves and track listings. The export LPs were included in the domestic record number series and follow the same label changes. Here we have the Out of Our Heads, the Rolling Stones. And the mono and stereo export versions of the Rolling Stones Out of Our Heads. This LP comes with a different cover and different track listing than the UK release. The export release is by far more common in Sweden than the ordinary UK release. So that explains quite a lot. And here we have a picture both of the sleeve that looks exactly like one I have here, even with this little label, and it's not a label, it's printed on the sleeve. As I'm saying, I'm not an expert on the Rolling Stones albums. I know that there were different versions, American and UK and maybe export versions, so I can't say that I have that much knowledge about this, but this is where this book come in very handy. And now when I check this image of the stereo label, it looks exactly like the one we looked at earlier, my copy here. So this was made in England, but it was made for export, and it even has this ring here that my copy has as well. So I think we have solved it. This is actually an export issue made by Decca, and it was released at the same time as the ordinary version. So that's nice to know. Well, I don't know what more to say, but this has been a quite interesting thing to check up now when I found this LP and realized that I actually had the book to be able to check it up closer. So I thought we could try to look on what more you could find out here, and we talk about the Decca stamper codes and matrix numbers. And according to this book, the first stamper had the letter B in the wax, and then second U, third C, fourth K, and well up to M, the first 10 digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. Well, the 10 digits that exist stands for some sort of letter. So let's say if you got the 14th pressing, then it should say BK, 1, 4, BK. What we, of course, those of us who care about first pressings, of which I'm not really one of them, but still these might be fun, we are looking for the letter B in the dead wax, as it's called. So this will be probably totally impossible to see on this video, but the only thing you can see is how dusty it is. So let's see now if I can see it with my... Oh yeah, I thought I saw a U there. Oh, and it's a K, UK. But can that mean, could that mean United Kingdom, or can it be the number of the stamper? Well, let's see now. UK. Let's have a closer look here. UK. U is 2 and K is 4, so this 4. So this would be the 24th pressing. Well, that of course means that it's not one of the earliest issues, unless the UK in this case may mean United Kingdom, but I doubt that. So what do we know now by this beauty that we didn't know before, or that I didn't know before? Well, first of all, that it is English issue, but made for export. That it has the right label that was used in the mid 60s, and also that it isn't one of the earliest stampers used. So this may be from 1966, 1967 sometime. Well, we don't know that, but we know that it's these were not among the first issues that went out to the stores. So we know that, and does it really matter? Isn't it mainly the music that we're interested in? Well, yes, in some cases. And this is, of course, not an expensive album. It's not in the best condition, and but still, it's these little things that I can find quite interesting to have a look at. And I don't do this very often. As I said, I've had this album for, well, maybe 15 years or so, but I haven't, and I have this book since it was released in 2000, and let's see, when may it have been, 2008. So obviously I don't check these things that often, and I don't care that much about it, but it was interesting to see what you can find out from this kind of book. And in this case, I was, of course, I was a bit lucky, since there was a certain page in this book that was about this actual issue. But anyway, it was a fun discographical exercise.